I never imagined I would find myself writing about such a shocking family experience, but here I am, still grappling with disbelief over what my parents have done. My name is Alex, I'm 28 years old, and I have a younger sister named Emma, who recently turned 22 and just graduated from college. Our parents have always had an unusual way of raising us, but their latest action has left me feeling incredibly hurt and angry, forcing me into a position I never thought I would be in, going no contact with them. To give you some essential background, I have always been the responsible one in our family. I put in a lot of hard work throughout my schooling, earned several scholarships, and secured a good job in finance right after I graduated from college. Since I was 22, I have been financially independent, and I take great pride in what I've accomplished on my own. On the other hand, Emma has always been the baby of the family. I love her dearly, but she has undoubtedly been spoiled by our parents. Growing up, it was apparent that Emma was the favorite. She received new clothes, the latest gadgets, and never had to worry about getting a part-time job or helping around the house. While I tried my best to focus on my own goals, there were moments when the favoritism was hard to overlook. One memory stands out in particular. When I was 16 and Emma was just 10, I had been saving for months to buy a new gaming console. After finally saving enough money, I excitedly told my parents about my plans. To my utter shock, they informed me that they had already bought a console for Emma the previous week and that I could just share hers. I felt completely crushed, but I tried to put aside my disappointment and find happiness for my sister nonetheless. Now, fast forward to the current situation. Emma graduated with a degree in communications, and I wholeheartedly support her achievements. I even sent her a nice graduation gift, a laptop she had been wanting. Just last week, my mom called me, filled with excitement, to share what they planned as the ultimate graduation gift for Emma, a month-long tour of Europe. Initially, I was happy for my sister, thinking it was a generous gesture from our parents. But then came the shocking revelation, the bombshell that flipped my world upside down. "We used your credit card to book it all," my mom said nonchalantly, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. "We'll pay you back, of course, but we needed the points from your card to upgrade some flights and hotels." I was speechless. I simply could not believe what I was hearing. After a moment, I found my voice and asked how much they had spent. When my mom told me the amount was $155,000, it felt as if I had been punched in the gut. They had charged $155,000 on my credit card without my permission or knowledge. I responded to my mom, trying my best to keep my voice steady, saying, "You can't just use my credit card without asking me. That's illegal, and $155,000 is a lot of money." To my dismay, she dismissed my concerns, telling me I was being dramatic. "It's for your sister's graduation," she said casually. "We're family, and family helps each other. Besides, we'll pay you back eventually." The word "eventually" made me uneasy. What did that even mean? Since when was a $155,000 expense something to take lightly? I attempted to explain to my mom why this behavior was unacceptable. I talked about the potential damage to my credit score and how important my credit limit could be in emergencies. I expressed my feelings about the violation of trust, but she wouldn't listen. Instead, she accused me of being selfish. "You've always been so selfish," she said coldly. "Can't you just be happy for your sister? This is her big moment, and you're trying to ruin it with your penny-pinching ways." I couldn't believe my ears. I was being labeled as selfish for being upset over an unauthorized $155,000 charge on my credit card. After that call, I felt a whirlwind of emotions, anger, hurt, and disbelief. Over the next few days, I reached out to my dad, hoping he might be more understanding. Unfortunately, he echoed my mom's sentiments, telling me I was overreacting and that I should be more supportive of Emma. As for Emma, she seemed completely unaware of the storm brewing around her. When I attempted to talk to her about what had happened, it felt like I was hitting a wall. The entire situation left me feeling isolated, questioning not only my family dynamics but also my own values and boundaries. When I attempted to discuss the situation with her, she simply overflowed with excitement about the upcoming trip. She kept expressing her gratitude for my contribution to her graduation gift, as if that was all that mattered. In that moment, I felt like I was losing my mind. Was I truly the unreasonable one here? This uncertainty pushed me to call the credit card company to dispute the charges. However, much to my dismay, I discovered that my parents had used the credit card details I provided them for emergencies to book everything online. The credit card company informed me that since I had willingly shared my details, it did not qualify as fraud. Now, I found myself facing a staggering $115,000 bill, a maxed-out credit card, and a family that perceived me as selfish for not wanting to support my sister's lavish vacation. I felt a mix of hurt, anger, and betrayal from the very people who were supposed to love and back me up during challenging times. I was at a crossroads, unsure of what to do next. Part of me wanted to cancel the entire trip, but I knew that would likely create a significant rift within my family. On the other hand, I considered simply paying off the bill to avoid any drama, but $115,000 is an immense amount of money, and the principle of the matter deeply troubled me. Additionally, I worried that if I let this situation slide, it would set a worrying precedent for future financial exploitation. Was I overreacting? Should I just accept this and pay for my sister's vacation, or should I stand my ground, even if it meant potentially damaging my family relationships? I felt utterly lost and found myself in desperate need of guidance. After posting about my situation, I received a flood of supportive comments and advice, which truly overwhelmed me. I was astonished by the positive response and felt comforted as I read through them. The encouragement helped me realize that my feelings of violation and anger were completely valid in this situation. Taking this to heart, I decided to take action. I reached out to my credit card company again and asked to escalate the issue. I clearly explained the entire situation, emphasizing that while my parents had my card details for emergencies, I had never authorized this specific transaction. After some discussion, they agreed to investigate the charges as potential fraud. Next, I sent a group text to my parents and my sister, Emma, requesting a family Zoom call to address the situation. I wanted to provide them with an opportunity to rectify things before resorting to more drastic measures. The call turned out to be quite intense. I began by calmly explaining why their actions were completely unacceptable. I touched on the legal implications, the breach of trust, and the financial burden it placed on me. I informed them that I had reported the charges as fraudulent and urged them to cancel the trip immediately. However, my parents' reaction was not what I had hoped for. They responded with indignation, accusing me of being overly dramatic and attempting to ruin Emma's graduation celebration. My mother went as far as to remind me of everything they had done for me, insisting that I should help give my sister the trip of a lifetime. Taking a deep breath, I responded, reminding them that they chose to have children and that providing for us was their responsibility as parents. I emphasized that their actions did not grant them the right to use my credit card for unauthorized purchases. Emma, who had been quiet throughout most of the call, suddenly broke down in tears, accusing me of trying to ruin her graduation present. She claimed that I had always been jealous of her and questioned why I couldn't just be happy for her for once. Her words stung, but they also strengthened my determination. It dawned on me that this sense of entitlement and favoritism had been a persistent issue in our family, and it was time for me to set some clear boundaries. I addressed Emma gently but firmly, stating that I was genuinely proud of her graduation and happy for her achievements. However, I needed her to understand that this trip was booked illegally, using my money without my permission. It wasn't a gift from me, and that was simply not acceptable. My father, who had remained unusually silent until that moment, finally spoke up, claiming that they didn't think it was a big deal. He said they had always had access to my card for emergencies and believed that as a family, it would be acceptable to use it this one time. I was appalled. I reminded him that $115,000 is not a trivial amount and that this situation certainly did not constitute an emergency. The call ended with my parents feeling angry, Emma still in tears, and me feeling drained from a conversation that had taken a heavy emotional toll. Emma was in tears, the weight of the situation pressing down on both of us. I felt drained, emotionally exhausted from the turmoil, yet I stood firm in my resolution. My parents were adamant about not canceling the trip, insisting that I was overreacting and that they would pay me back as soon as possible. After our heated conversation, I knew I had to take the next step. I reached out to a lawyer friend of mine to talk about what had happened. As I explained the situation to him, he confirmed my worst fears: what my parents had done was indeed illegal. He told me I had solid grounds for legal action if I decided to pursue it. Feeling the weight of my options, I decided to visit the police station to file a report about the unauthorized use of my credit card. The officer on duty was sympathetic and listened carefully as I shared my story. He took down all the details, and while he warned me that pursuing charges might cause a significant rift in my family, he also reassured me that I was entirely within my rights to do so. This left me feeling even more torn about my next steps. On one hand, I deeply love my family, and the thought of taking legal action against them made me feel physically ill. On the other hand, their behavior was completely unacceptable, and I worried that if I didn't take a strong stand now, this kind of situation could happen again in the future. For the moment, I decided to hold off and see what came of the credit card company's investigation. In the meantime, I took the precaution of freezing my credit to prevent any further unauthorized use of my financial information. This entire situation has been a wake-up call for me, highlighting the need to establish stronger boundaries with my family. Throughout my life, I've often played the role of the peacekeeper, trying to smooth things over and keep everyone happy. However, in doing so, I've allowed myself to be taken advantage of time after time. I felt hurt and angry, but amidst these negative emotions, there was also a strange sense of empowerment. For the first time, I was standing up for myself and firmly stating that this behavior was not okay. Although it was uncomfortable and frightening, I knew it was necessary. I expressed my gratitude for the support and advice I received from friends and online connections, promising to provide updates as I learned more about the credit card investigation or if anything else developed with my family. Several weeks passed since my last update, and quite a bit had unfolded during that time. I appreciated everyone's support and advice. It truly became a source of strength during this challenging period. First, the good news: the credit card company concluded their investigation in my favor. They confirmed that the charges made on my card were unauthorized and promptly reversed them. This felt like a huge relief, lifting a burden of $115,000 off my shoulders. However, the aftermath within my family was a different story. When my parents and Emma discovered that the trip had been canceled due to the credit card chargeback, chaos ensued. My phone was inundated with angry calls and messages from my family. My mom left a particularly harsh voicemail, calling me a selfish and ungrateful son, claiming I had ruined Emma's life. Emma took to social media, posting a tearful video lamenting how her cruel brother had destroyed her dream graduation trip. Some mutual friends and extended family members reached out, asking me why I was being so unfair to my little sister. The situation spiraled out of control, and I realized I needed to set the record straight. I crafted a calm and factual post to explain what had really happened, detailing how my credit card had been used without my permission and reiterating the steps I had taken to resolve the matter with my family before contacting the credit card company. The response to my post was mixed. Some individuals expressed shock and support, recognizing my parents' wrongdoing, while others insisted that I should have put family first and let Emma have her trip. It was eye-opening to see how many people believed it was acceptable to commit fraud as long as it was for family. A few days after my post, I received an unexpected call from my aunt, my mom's sister. She was compassionate to my situation and shared family history that I had not been aware of before. Apparently, my mom had a history of financial irresponsibility and had exploited family members in the past. My aunt encouraged me to stand my ground and offered her support. Our conversation made me realize that this incident was not just an isolated event, it was part of a broader pattern of behavior that had been enabled and overlooked for far too long. For years, a pattern of harmful behavior existed within my family, one that had been continuously enabled and excused by those closest to me. I had finally come to realize that I must set firm boundaries not only for my own well-being but also to disrupt this ongoing cycle of financial abuse that had affected me for so long. It was a significant moment when I decided to take a bold step. I informed my parents that I would be going no contact with them indefinitely. When I explained my decision, I emphasized that I needed time to process everything that had occurred between us and that, at that moment, I simply could not trust them. Additionally, I reached out to Emma, expressing that while I loved her and was proud of her accomplishments, I also needed some distance from her. As anticipated, their reactions were negative and filled with emotional turmoil. My parents accused me of tearing the family apart, insisting that I was being unreasonable. Emma, feeling hurt and confused, cried and claimed that I was punishing her for actions that were not her fault. Despite the difficulty of the situation, I resolved to stand firm in my choice. In the midst of all this family drama, I focused on protecting myself from any future financial abuse. I took immediate action by changing all my passwords, closing the credit card account my parents had access to, and opening a new one at a different bank to safeguard my finances. Furthermore, I sought the help of a therapist who could guide me through the complex feelings surrounding this situation and assist me in developing healthier boundaries. One unexpected outcome from this challenging experience was that it strengthened my relationship with my aunt and a couple of cousins. They reached out to show their support, and it was comforting to realize that not everyone in my family condoned my parents' actions. Regarding Emma's upcoming graduation trip, I learned through family conversations that my parents were still considering sending her somewhere special. A part of me felt guilty about her potentially missing out on the trip to Europe, but I reminded myself that it was not my responsibility to provide such experiences for her. I still grappled with feelings of guilt and doubt, often questioning whether I had made the right decision or if I had been too harsh. However, I consistently reflected on the deep sense of violation I felt upon discovering my parents' actions, which solidified my belief that I had made the right choice by advocating for myself. This entire experience served as a harsh awakening for me but also as a crucial lesson in self-respect and the importance of setting boundaries. I began to understand that it is perfectly acceptable to say no to family members, and that genuine love should never come with a price tag attached. I expressed my gratitude for the support I received during this time and promised to update everyone on any significant developments while I continue to focus on healing and moving forward. It's been about 2 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some recent developments. Your ongoing support and advice have been invaluable to me throughout this challenging period. First, I need to address the most pressing issue regarding the legal situation. After careful consideration and consultations with my lawyer, I made the difficult decision not to press charges against my parents. Many of you urged me to take legal action, but my lawyer explained that since the credit card company had already reversed the charges, pursuing a criminal case would be complicated and could potentially result in significant costs without any guarantee of success. Instead, we opted to send a formal cease and desist letter to my parents, clearly warning them that any future attempts to misuse my financial information would lead to immediate legal action. Now, on to the dynamics within my family. The no-contact period with my parents and Emma has proved to be both challenging and enlightening. It has granted me the opportunity to reflect on our family dynamics and dedicate time to personal growth. I have been attending therapy sessions consistently and have found it incredibly beneficial in processing my emotions while learning to maintain healthier boundaries. About a month into this no-contact period, I received an unexpected email from Emma. Unlike her previous tearful accusations, this email exhibited surprising maturity. She expressed that she had taken the time to reflect and acknowledged how wrong our parents' behavior had been. Emma apologized for her initial response and for not standing up for me when it mattered. She revealed that she had always recognized the favoritism in our family but had been too fearful and comfortable to confront it. While I felt cautiously optimistic about Emma's newfound perspective, I decided that it was best to take things slow, allowing trust to rebuild in our relationship. Since our last conversation, I have had a few phone calls with Emma, and I can see that she is genuinely trying to understand my point of view. During these talks, she opened up about her own experiences related to our parents' financial irresponsibility, something she had never mentioned before. It seems that the cancellation of her Europe trip served as a wake-up call for her as well, prompting her to reflect on our family's financial situation more seriously. On the other hand, my parents have not been as willing to take responsibility for their actions. They have reached out to me several times, sending angry voicemails and guilt-tripping emails in an attempt to get me to respond. One day, my mother even showed up at my apartment without warning, causing quite a commotion in the hallway. It was a challenging moment, but I stood my ground and refused to engage with her, prioritizing my mental well-being instead. When it comes to the extended family, the situation has been a mixed bag. Some relatives have been supportive, particularly my aunt, who was one of the first to reach out to me. She has become a valuable ally and source of encouragement during this difficult time. However, other relatives still pressure me to reconcile with my parents, using the argument that they're family. This has led me to distance myself from some of them in order to maintain my peace of mind. On a more positive note, this entire situation has prompted unexpected personal growth. The time and energy I previously spent managing my family's drama can now be dedicated to focusing on my own life and aspirations. I have taken up photography as a new hobby and have been spending more quality time with friends who respect my boundaries. Moreover, I have made significant strides in my financial decisions, such as increasing my contributions to my retirement accounts and starting to build a more substantial emergency fund. This experience has truly emphasized the importance of financial independence and security. A particularly satisfying moment occurred last week when I received a promotion at work, which included a substantial pay raise. In the past, I might have felt compelled to share this news and the associated financial benefits with my family. However, this time, I chose to celebrate quietly with a few close friends, feeling proud of my accomplishments without feeling guilty or pressured to share. Regarding Emma's graduation trip, I learned through my aunt that our parents ended up sending her on a 2-week tour of California. According to my aunt, Emma enjoyed the trip. Looking ahead, I am cautiously optimistic about the future. I have decided to extend my no-contact period with my parents for at least another 3 months, as I still need time to heal and to determine whether they can respect my boundaries. With Emma, I am open to the idea of slowly rebuilding our relationship. However, I am proceeding with caution and continuing to maintain clear boundaries. Through this experience, I have learned valuable lessons about setting limits and standing up for myself. I have come to realize that family is not solely defined by blood but is more about mutual respect, support, and love. The friends and relatives who have stood by me throughout this ordeal have truly shown me what real family looks like. Additionally, my understanding of financial independence has deepened. I have always been good with managing money, but this situation has made me even more vigilant. I have put extra security measures in place for all my accounts and have become more assertive in protecting my financial information, even from family members. There have been moments of doubt and sadness, especially during family events that I have missed due to my no-contact policy. Mother's Day was particularly hard, but I remind myself that this preparation is crucial for my mental health and personal growth. An unexpected outcome of all this is that I have become a resource for friends dealing with their own family financial issues. Several people have reached out to me for advice on setting boundaries and managing relationships with financially irresponsible family members. It feels rewarding to help others navigate similar situations. As for my parents' financial situation, I have heard from my aunt that they are struggling. Apparently, they were counting on using my credit for more than just Emma's trip, which has led to some arguments between them as they face the realities of their financial choices. The recent situation has created considerable tension within my family, particularly between my parents. My dad has been quick to point fingers at my mom, accusing her of going too far with a recent incident involving credit card fraud. This blame game has led to some heated arguments, adding to the already stressful environment at home. I find myself feeling a sense of guilt as I witness their financial struggles unfold, but deep down, I recognize that their poor financial decisions are not something I can or should try to fix. Emma, my sister, has shared her perspective on how our parents are processing all of this. She has pointed out that they still don't seem to grasp the reasons behind my strong reaction to their actions. To them, what they did feels typical of family dynamics, and they struggle to comprehend why I consider it such a significant issue. This disconnect is incredibly frustrating for me, yet it also solidifies my decision to maintain some distance from them for my own well-being. In light of these challenging family dynamics, I've been doing a lot of thinking about my childhood and early adulthood. It has become clear to me that I have been surrounded by patterns of financial and emotional manipulation that I once viewed as normal. Coming to terms with this realization has been a painful experience, but it is also incredibly freeing. I'm gradually learning to validate my own feelings and experiences without relying on my parents' approval. On a more personal note, I have also started dating again. Initially, I was hesitant to open up to anyone new while grappling with all this family drama, but I recently met someone who has been wonderfully understanding of my situation. While it is still early in our relationship, it feels refreshing to connect with someone who respects my boundaries and shares my values. I'm also contemplating some significant changes in my life. Pursuing a master's degree has always been a goal of mine, but I previously postponed it, largely out of concern for how my studies would affect my ability to support my family financially. Now, however, I am actively researching programs and seriously considering taking that leap. It's empowering to make choices based solely on what will benefit me and my future. As I reflect on this update, I'm amazed at how much has shifted in just a few months. The initial shock and anger I felt have given way to a calm determination. I am no longer merely reacting to my family's actions, instead, I'm taking proactive steps to shape the life I envision for myself. For anyone facing similar family issues, I want to emphasize that it does get better. Setting boundaries can be tough and may lead to backlash, but it's essential to stay strong. You have the right to protect your mental health and financial stability. I deeply appreciate the support I have received throughout this journey. Your advice and encouragement have been invaluable. As I look ahead, I remain uncertain about how my relationships with my parents and sister will unfold, but I am confident that whatever happens, I will be okay. I feel stronger now, more assured of myself, and ready to tackle whatever challenges lie ahead. In my latest update, I want to share that it's been 6 months since my last communication. I believe it's important to keep you all informed about my progress. The biggest news is that I have been accepted into a master's program located about 3 hours away from my current home. This program, which will span 2 years, focuses on financial technology and aligns perfectly with my career aspirations. I will be starting this fall, and I'm feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness about this new chapter in my life. Deciding to pursue this degree was not an easy choice. It requires me to leave my job, move to a new city, and take on some student loans. However, it is also an investment in myself and in my future, something I have always wanted to do. I've come to realize that I was holding myself back for too long, always considering how my decisions might impact my family. Now, I am focusing on what is best for me, and the sense of liberation that comes with that is immense. As for the situation with my family, things have evolved in ways I did not anticipate. The no-contact period I established with my parents officially ended 2 months ago when I agreed to a family therapy session led by a professional therapist. This session was intense, as my parents came in feeling defensive. They still insist on their views, which added to the challenges we faced, but it was a step forward in addressing our issues. The atmosphere during the family therapy session was charged with intensity. My parents entered the room with a defensive posture, still holding on to the belief that they had not done anything wrong. They were adamant about their innocence. However, as the session unfolded, unexpected truths began to surface. It was revealed that my dad had suffered a considerable financial loss from a bad investment, a misfortune he had kept hidden from everyone, including my mom. This revelation was shocking. They had been struggling with their finances in silence for months. To maintain a facade of normalcy and stability, they used my credit card as a means to project an image that everything was okay. The discovery triggered an emotional response filled with tears and accusations. My mom, feeling deeply betrayed by my dad's lack of transparency, expressed her hurt and disappointment. On the other hand, my dad wrestled with feelings of shame for his poor financial choices. In that moment, both parents began to come to terms with the impact their actions had on me. This understanding did not excuse their behavior, but it provided me with insight into the desperation that drove them to make such poor decisions. Throughout this emotional journey, the therapist played a crucial role in guiding us through these complex issues. For the first time, I heard my parents offer sincere apologies. We emerged from the session with an agreement to continue family therapy on a monthly basis. It became clear that rebuilding our relationship would take time and effort. While I was determined to uphold my boundaries firmly, I felt a cautious optimism that we could forge a healthier connection moving forward. In another positive development, my sister Emma has shown remarkable growth and maturity. She has taken significant steps toward becoming financially independent. Securing a full-time job and moving into her own apartment are impressive achievements. As we've started talking more frequently, I find myself getting to know her in a whole new way, as an adult rather than just my sister. It's a refreshing change, especially as she has recently sought my advice on budgeting and saving, which feels like a notable step forward in our relationship. On a personal level, my relationship with Sarah has evolved into something truly special. She has been a constant source of support regarding my choice to return to school, and she understands the challenges of long-distance relationships that we are now facing. Her own experiences with setting boundaries within her family have proven invaluable, allowing her to empathize with what I have been going through. Financially, I find myself in a much healthier position. A recent promotion at work has enabled me to save a nice amount of money to help with my upcoming move and offset some expenses for graduate school. I have also become more assertive in protecting my financial information. Recently, I had to put my foot down when a distant relative tried to pressure me into co-signing a loan. It was a challenging situation, but standing firm in my decision felt empowering. As I prepare for this new chapter in my life, I have taken time to reflect on how much my life has transformed since that shocking phone call from my mom about the credit card charges. The overwhelming pain and anger I felt in those moments have gradually faded away. In their place, I now have a feeling of empowerment and self-assurance that I never realized I possessed. This experience has been a profound teacher. I have learned the critical importance of setting and maintaining boundaries, particularly with family members. It is okay to prioritize my own well-being and future. I have come to realize that true family, those who genuinely care about me, whether related by blood or chosen, will support my growth and respect the boundaries I set. I want to express gratitude to everyone who has followed my journey and provided support and advice along the way. Your encouraging words have been a beacon of strength and clarity during some of the most challenging times in my life. For anyone facing similar family struggles, remember that it is possible to emerge from the difficulties stronger and wiser. As I begin to pack up my apartment and prepare for this exciting new adventure, I am filled with a sense of excitement and possibility that has been absent for far too long. I am proud of how far I have come and look forward to what the future holds. While I may not provide updates for a while due to my busy schedule with the move and starting school, I will always cherish the support I've received. Here's to new beginnings, hard-earned wisdom, and the courage to create the life we envision for ourselves.